Welcome to Amplify Love, the podcast where we explore the heart of personal growth, higher consciousness, and so much more. I'm Natalia Love, here to empower and guide you. As a metaphysical teacher, visionary, spiritual mentor, I'm here to provide you with the tools to rise, step into your superpowers, and live your best timeline. So join me on this sacred adventure as we unlock your limitless potential and amplify the love within you. Starting right now. So today we're going to talk about, what does being an empath mean? A lot of people ask this question. So I figured I'm going to start sharing all the stuff that people ask me and just go with the flow and trust the universe. I'm just going to keep on flowing and sharing content that I may have had before as well, because I want to work smarter and not harder. So thank you so much for this question. What does being an empath mean? That means that you're intuitive. Now we're going to talk about empaths, but most empaths are highly sensitive people, but not all highly sensitive people are an empath. So we're going to talk about empath, and if we have time, we'll get into highly sensitive people. And so you can see the similarities and there's a difference. But 20% of the population in the world is considered an empath. That's only 20%. So that leaves a remainder 80% who are not even aware, or they may be aware, but they don't really understand. And sometimes people who are empaths are made fun of and called, oh, you're too sensitive. Like, come on. And that's hard for men specifically who don't understand that, hey, this is a special gift. I'm one of 20% of the people that has a special gift of being an empath. So spiritually attuned deeply feels the emotions of others. So you are an empath is someone who can walk into a room and feel everything. With the news, that is doing a disservice, because an empath will feel all of the sufferings from the people that they're seeing that are in pain. So there's a difference from watching the news and not really having an engagement with your energy body. That's like 80% of the people. But the 20% of the people will be like, my gosh, I can't handle this. This is too much for me. And they feel all this burden as if it was their own, because they put themselves as an empath in the shoes of whoever is suffering. The empaths do that. So the difference is sympathy and having empathy. Sympathy is, oh my gosh, I feel so sorry for you. Oh, but empath is, ow, I can actually feel it in your body. You feel it. You absorb. You're a sponge and you absorb all energy. So when you walk into a room, you can not just feel the energy body, but you can feel the physical pain at times and their thought form at times. But you will be able to absorb everything. And if you do not surround and ground yourself, that is when it becomes too toxic for your body. And if you don't know how to do the spiritual practices, it's not a good thing, because as an empath, we can hold on to it and then attract people that are more like an energy vampire, because the energy vampire sees us and they can be like, oh, I can absorb their energy because they're caring, nurturing, compassionate people. And as empaths, we feel like so deeply for everyone that we don't realize it. So sometimes people who are empaths are in relationships that are unhealthy, such as narcissistic partners. And narcissistic partners are all about themselves, but they find empath as a perfect person because they could dump all the shit on the empath. And the empath will always be resilient and always like think the best of the person, because they see, oh, they don't just see the bad, they see the good and the bad. So the empath would be so easy to talk their way into staying into that relationship, because that person had, the narcissistic person had a bad childhood, or they had abuse, this and that. So they have so much compassion. So the disservice of being an empath is not being strong enough to walk away from situations like that. Narcissistic or energy vampires. So we have to learn to take care of ourselves first. It is important to say no instead of being that person who just cares so much, but we're not taking care of ourselves. So as empaths, it's a must to have alone time. Every day you need to have time alone. And it doesn't mean that you have to go on a walk for an hour and meditate for an hour, but that could be a beautiful way to be alone. So meditation is a perfect thing to help your mind. So as an empath, you have to really clear your mind, because if not, you'll pick up other people's thought forms. So you can walk into a room and then you're feeling sad all the time. It's like, hey, this is not me. But you'll know it's not you. It came from the energy around you. So when thoughts comes into your head and has nothing to do with your core value and who you truly are, you know that you're an empath and you're picking it up from other people. And when physical sensations, you could be feeling great, and all of a sudden you're in this space and you have cramps or you have like headaches. That is you being an empath and you're feeling things. So crowded spaces is very hard for empaths to go to unless you ground and you surround yourself. So as an empath, we are highly intuitive, overwhelmed in crowds. We have to take time to recharge. I like to go outside in nature. I like to meditate. I like to unplug from like everyone and just do whatever I want to do. And I make sure. That's why I'm a night owl. I play with my crystals, I play with my oils, and I watch something that I want to watch. So it doesn't always have to be spiritual. I don't always have to meditate. I meditate every day, yes. But what I'm saying is that you just take it alone time, just sitting there, knitting. It's fine. It's going outside and grounding. So when empaths don't ground themselves, then it's so easy to absorb it. And it's so easy to go down that rabbit hole and feel all those feelings that we can't change. And then what happens is that you are going to create more disharmony in your body. So it's so important to realize as an empath to unplug from the news, unplug from all the negative things, because that's the best thing for your mental health. And I know you want to be aware. It's great to be aware, but this is certain time. So say, okay, I'm going to look at this once a week or once a day for 5 minutes versus like first thing in the morning, first thing at night. Because when you see something first thing in the morning, your mind is so like potent to receive, and then it's going to ruin your entire day. So as an empath, it's number one to pay attention to what you're surrounding yourself with. What are you allowing inside your mind? What are you allowing inside your energy? So do some visualizing techniques. I like to like shake, like jump and shake your arms. And when you like shaking your body, all this like stress or darkness or black oil or gray clouds, whatever you want to visualize, is like coming out. That's the thing that I've learned from Tony Robbins back in the day, is to when you change the state of being, you change your mind. So sometimes like, okay, oh my God, this is all my energy. Shake it all. Or you could be like, oh my goodness. Okay, let me use some sage, some Palo Santo, some essential oils. Let me hold on to my crystals. Let me say an affirmation. I am aligning to the divine and releasing all negative energies from all outside sources right now. I'm aligning to the divine and I'm releasing all negative outside sources right now. Saying an affirmation, visualize it, the beautiful white light around you, or golden light, or pink bubble, whatever you desire, and grounding with roots and shake it. All those are ways to shift your body, to take back your power, to let go of all the things that we pick up. And as an empath, you will notice the difference. When you walk into a room, you'll be like, hey, why can't other people see this or feel this? It's very potent to absorb things. So you walk away from situations much quicker if you're aligned to your divine versus I have to be here because I need to save the world. Sometimes empath doesn't work on themselves. They think that they have to rescue a lot of people. And that's why they attracted narcissistic husbands or wives. And that's why they put up with those forms of abuse. So 20% of the population is an empath. 80% isn't. It is so easy for empaths who want to save the world to want to be like, just stop that. This is the other way you need to be, or rescue everybody. So your job is to be able to put boundaries up, to say no and say yes, but also to check yourself. Mentally, how you're feeling today. Spiritually, how you're feeling today. physically how are you feeling today? But what do you need to do right now? As an empath, you need to take care of you first. Because if you don't take care of yourself, it's going to be chaos. It is. You're not going to have strong roots. You're going to be a sponge to everything. You're going to attract negative energy so quickly, and narcissistic people and people who want to use you. We have to check ourselves mentally. How do I feel? Oh my gosh, I need a break. As an empath, we have to check ourselves and see, what do I need right now? I'm feeling overwhelmed. Where is this coming from? So what am I going to do? I do my practices all the time. This is the thing. You have to do the practice. You're not going to be able to just do meditation once in your whole life and be fine. Just do Palo Santo once in your whole life and be fine. Your life is a ceremony. Every step is sacred. Every breath is life. You have to live your life when you're an empath as if it's a ceremony to celebrate. A ceremony is all about celebrating. You celebrate weddings. You celebrate a baby birth. You celebrate death. Ceremonies. But I want to tell people that your life is a ceremony. So celebrate every moment. Every step is sacred. Every breath is sacred. So you really need to work on yourself more than other people. How can I be the fullest version of me? As an empath, we have to be authentic. We have to be authentic to us. That's the best way that we can be a lighthouse for the world. We, as empaths, have to shine the path as a lighthouse. So we work with ourselves. We are the positive examples of living. And by showing up as your authentic self, you are a lighthouse. So imagine people who lost the sea and drama and all this shit that's happening out there in the world, which sucks stuff and sex trafficking. There's shit happening, okay? I know there's shit happening. I'm not saying to spiritual bypass and don't know about those things. I'm saying diving deep into that stuff is not going to serve you. It's okay to know, but don't let that take over your mental health, your physical health, your emotional state. So there is a difference for sure. So check yourself and say, okay, I'm a lighthouse. I'm going to be my authentic version of me. I'm going to shine the light so people who are lost at sea and fear and all that stuff can find their way. I'm not going to dive deep into the storm and I'm going to be like, come here, come swim this way. I'm not the tugboat. You're not the tugboat who's going to go, because guess what? When you're going as a tugboat in that storm, the tugboat may not survive its journey back. So your job is to be the lighthouse, the strong, authentic light that shines because you're living authentically, because you're taking care of you. The other people who are lost will find their way because of your light. So your job is not to rescue the people. Empaths have to know you're not going to change a narcissistic parent or a narcissistic husband or wife. You're not going to change them. They are going to see, oh, wow, this empath is not taking my bullshit anymore. Hey, I'm saying no. I'm putting up boundaries. And then they're going to find someone else to suck their energy from. Lots of vampires love empaths because they know they absorb everything. They're like, okay, good. They're going to listen to my bullshit. And when someone complains, what happens is they are putting that toxic bubbles in your life. There's a difference of holding space for someone to express their complaint and then they release in it. There's a total difference about that because they're not living in that tornado forever versus someone who just wants to talk about their same story over and over again. And that's why I shared recently, it's like, I want to be womb mates, not wound mates. There's a difference of sharing your wound to inspire. A wound person hasn't healed it, and they're still in that victim mindset, and there still is, oh my gosh, I'm stuck in my story of the past, and they can't move forward. They can't manifest, or they can't get in a healthier relationship because of their abuse in the past. So people who are stuck in their wound is negative aspect of an empath because they can feel, and then process it. The healthy aspect of an empath is they release it. A negative aspect of an empath is watch the news, they put themselves into that body, into that person who's suffering, into that person who's dying, into that, and then they feel it all, they embody it. And then it devastates their physical, their mental, and their emotional health. That's the negative aspect. We, as empaths, have to not do that. We have to, okay, I can stand up, I can pray, I can clear my space. I cannot watch the news because you have to put up a boundary for yourself. As an empath, it's so important. So empaths feel it different than the 80% who can have sympathy and they can feel sorry, but this is out of them. Empath, it's inside them. So that's why it's so important to have alone time. It's so important to ground and to use your tools. You have to make sure you have time to make your life a ceremony, to do a ritual that's going to make you feel good, to do the meditation, to do the grounding, to do the visualizing, to play with your oils, to read that book, to knit that scarf, to write that book. All that is a way to take care of yourself. So empaths have to take care of themselves. They have to devote themselves to themselves, because if you don't devote yourselves to you, then you're going to be carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders. So when you are around your clients, or when you're working, or when you're out into the world, this is so important to take care of your mental health, take care of your sacred temple, and say, okay, I'm going to listen to this person, but I'm not going to listen to this person. So choosing who you surround yourself with as an empath is so important, because we can have friends who are leeches. We can have people who just don't understand, and they don't always do it subconsciously. Like, I want to suck your energy. Energy vampires, they do it subconsciously. So as an empath, you have to pay attention to yourself. I like to spend time with this person, but I don't like to spend time with that person. So listen to that. Choose who you want to spend time with. Choose who you have your conversations with. Because empaths is so important. Or else, if you're not surrounding yourself with positive people or positive energy, you're going to be yourself. And it's not you when you have those thoughts outside of you. It is you being an empath, not grounded in yourself or not protecting yourself. So this list is the 7 signs that you might be an empath by Judith Orloff. And she's a psychiatrist, and she's also an intuitive, and she has a book. So this is from her, Judith Orloff. So number 1, you experience extreme emotions in certain environments, whether it be a family, at work, out in the mall, watching the news, and it affects you. That's number 1. So if you experience extreme emotions and people say, hey, you're too sensitive, guess what? You are an empath. Number 2, people seek you out as a confidant. What does that mean? That means that even strangers, if you're an empath, they'll be coming to you and they'll be sharing more than they usually share with other people. So then you go somewhere and like strangers are telling you their darkest secrets, or asking for counseling advice from you. And you're like thinking, God, this happens to everybody. Everyone just trusts everybody. But then your friend will be like, why everywhere you go, everyone talks to you. Why everywhere you go, people just give you all their secrets and stuff. It's because they're not an empath and you are. And people who are not an empath, they just feel safer with you because you're an empath. Because you can absorb everything, they don't know that word maybe that you're an empath, but they just feel like, oh, wow, this person understands me. And that is why people open up so much more to you as an empath. So a lot of empaths are healers and people just trust them much more. Number 3, you need a lot of time alone because you become overwhelmed quickly. Honestly, when I am going upstairs and I finish cooking a great meal and then there's a plate of dishes, and my kids then bring the dishes to the sink and they walk away and they don't try to help unload the dishes, I get overwhelmed. And not in an anger way, but in that, how dare you? And then I get overwhelmed, like, excuse me, you put your plate here. And then I start taking charge. Unload, load. Why do I have to tell you what to do? Like, come on. That's how I get overwhelmed. So what I do is, okay, they're gone now. They did everything I say. And I'm going to do the big pots and pans. I put a podcast on, or I put goddess music on, or chants on. And there's so many different songs I love. And as soon as I hear it, it's like, a sign of relief. That's my alone time. My family's still in the house, but I'm listening to music and doing the dishes. So I'm telling you, it doesn't have to be, you need to go outside and chant 100 times. You can, yes, but you can find alone time within by just creating that space everywhere you go. Outside, in your yard, grounding, gardening, visualizing, driving, getting your favorite thing, watching your favorite show, all that, reading a good book, all that's alone time. It doesn't have to be just you by yourself. No, it can be, yes, you by yourself doing things. Okay, so now, number 4, you become overwhelmed in intimate relationships. So as empaths, you absorb all the emotions of your intimate partners much more. In relationships, you become overwhelmed if they're not an empath and they're not seeing who you are, or they're not valuing you, or they're telling you you're too sensitive, or they don't give you space to feel seen. Then it's very frustrating. And a lot of empaths even want to sleep alone. That's number 6. And I'll get to that in a moment, because they just need that space, because an empath absorbs everything. In your intimate relationships, if they're not knowing who you truly are, if you don't say, hey, I'm an empath and this is what it means, and I feel real things, and when you bring your work home to me and you're not paying attention to me because you're stuck at work, it really affects my emotions because I feel invisible or whatever. So you have to speak up. As an empath, in any intimate relationships with your parents, with your lovers, with anyone, you have to speak up, because they're not mind readers. You could be the mind reader. As an empath, I could go somewhere and I can feel what my friend is thinking or what they've done. And I don't say that all the time. Like, as an empath, I was that child who went into stores and my mother wanted to get me clothes, and she's like, here you go. And in the thrift store, and I was like, oh no, I cannot wear this, because I saw the person who was wearing it and her depression or anger or whatever it was. And I just forbidden myself. And empaths feel that much. That's the difference of the 80% who are not empaths. Most healers, most intuitives are empaths. 20% of the entire world are empaths. So that's beautiful to see. 80% isn't. So that's hard, because we had to, teach people if you're in an intimate relationship, because they're not mind readers. So remember that. You can feel it, but they can't feel it. So it's not their fault. And you have to see, hey, do I want to be in this relationship? Is this person honoring me? Are they narcissistic people and they're abusive people to me? Because, like they say, most narcissists find empaths because they want to have someone they could throw the bullshit to, because the empaths relate to them so much that they will talk them away into staying in that relationship. So, number 5, you feel drained in large crowds. You feel all the energy around you. So you feel drained afterwards. You just come home and like, oh, I'm so exhausted and tired. I choose where I go now, but I remember when I didn't choose where I went, and it was like so draining. It's like, oh, I can't handle this energy. And I would have to meditate or, exercise or, take a shower and clear myself. The shower is also another great tool to use to clear all the energies around you. So now that I choose where to go, I can be in large crowds and it won't affect me. You can go out and be in large crowds and be fine, because you could protect yourself, surround yourself, ground yourself, and you be with people who have your back, who are positive peeps to use. And empath is not just introverts. Some people say that, but more studies have shown you could be an extrovert or an introvert and be an empath. So I am an extrovert most of the time. I used to be an introvert, so I guess I'm an ambivert. That's what the term is when you're both. Yeah, that's me. And I love going with a crowd of people because I'm choosing. The crowd I'm choosing is big, huge, positive events, honest circles, spiritual, all these beautiful people that resonate in the same vibe as me. That's the difference. So when you're an empath and you go into a crowd, like maybe a bar, I don't really like that. To me, it's like, oh gosh, why? It's a meat market, or people just want to like talk sleazy to you. Well, that's my experience. So I don't really choose to go to bars. But I may want to go to a place that plays good music so I can dance. But then I put a shield around me and it's okay. I could be at that plays a Latino reggaeton, and I could be dancing my ass off because my intention is to dance, not to do anything else. So once you master being an empath, you can go in all situations and be okay with it, but you have to be aware. You can't walk in without protecting yourself, because then it's like having unprotected sex. You need to have a condom to protect yourself, right? So make sure you put that bubble up there to protect yourself. That's funny. So the aura, the visualization bubble is your condom, okay? I never got that one before. Okay, so number 6, you have to sleep alone. To me, I don't feel that I need to sleep alone, but a lot of empaths, they feel, and this is from Judith, that they need to sleep alone, that they can't sleep in the same bed. And they may have like, okay, we'll sleep together 3 times a week in the same bed, because they can feel the energy of their spouse. And in bed, it's too overwhelming for them. So it depends who you're laying with. it will affect you. And that's basically that for number 6, that sometimes partners can't sleep in the same bed. Okay. So number 7, you go out of your way to help people. So empaths, they carry the heart on their sleeves. So sometimes you want to relieve the people who are suffering around you. So you go out of your way. It's great to help people, yes, but empaths have to remember that we are not the tugboats. We can't save the world. What you can do is give when you have something to give. Give the money, give the love, give the sandwiches, give from your heart what you have to give. You don't have to carry their emotions in your body, so you will then affect your family and your tribe because you haven't released that emotion. So important to have that beautiful exchange of giving and receiving, but it's important to pay attention. Hey, how was I before this situation and how am I now? Okay, so this is something that's draining me. If it's draining me, then I have to check it and make sure that I'm not putting too much energy into something that's draining me. So empaths have to really, really pay attention to their body, mind, spirit, emotions all the time. Because if you don't ground yourself and you don't protect yourself, then you will be feeling taken advantage of. Empaths have such a big heart. They just want to give everyone all the love they can and heal and help everyone. But we have to pay attention and realize like the number one person you have to help is yourself. And once you can help yourself, then you're that lighthouse and you can inspire people and give when you have something to give. But it's not your job to be the tugboat and go into all the storms and save all the people. Do something that makes you feel good, but don't do something that you're doing out of obligation, because then that's not living authentically. When you're doing things out of guilt, out of shame, and out of obligation, that's being in disharmony of your heart, because doing things shouldn't be feeling those things. We shouldn't be feeling guilt when we're doing things. We shouldn't feel obligated when doing things. That is your heart saying, hey, there's something off here. So your job as an empath is to pay attention to what is off and say, hey, you know what? No, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to watch that. I'm not going to talk to that person. I'm not going to go there, because that is what taking care of you looks like. I did say that I was going to tell you the difference of the highly sensitive person and an empath. Empaths are highly sensitive people. But highly sensitive people are not always empaths. I am both. So I'm going to tell you what a highly sensitive person is. The definition of a highly sensitive person is someone who experiences acute physical, mental, or emotional responses to stimuli. This can include external stimuli, like the surroundings that you're with, like people you're with, or internal, like your own thoughts, emotions, realizations. So, while everyone feels sensitive at times, everyone reacts to stimuli to some degree. Being a highly sensitive person means you experience it much greater. So the response is overwhelming. So, for example, for me, with a highly sensitive person, sensitive to touch, sensitive to smell, sensitive to taste, sensitive to the senses. That's the difference. Empaths, they feel the thoughts, the physical, and they feel it and they carry it, and they're the sponge and they know things and they're very intuitive. Highly sensitive people, they may not be intuitive, but things bother them. And it's actually a diagnostic thing, a highly sensitive person. Like, the smells, like you see me all the time. My throat, it gets all itchy. I even sage sometimes bothers me. Noise, my God, I cannot handle background noise when I'm having a conversation. I cannot handle any radio when I'm talking. That's a highly sensitive person. Overwhelmed with noise, with too much stuff happening, the senses, the feelings. I can't handle certain materials and certain foods. So that's a highly sensitive person when outside stimuli affects your physical body. 3 things to know about a highly sensitive person is this. Being highly sensitive is a normal trait. Approximately like 15 to 20% of people are highly sensitive. It doesn't mean they all are empaths. Being highly sensitive comes with both advantages and drawbacks. Highly sensitive people tend to be empathetic, artistic, creative, intuitive, but not always. And the next one is that sometimes they don't understand it, and then they just don't know how to handle their emotions. So because I'm aware of it, I know that it's like double whammy. Like I'm an empath plus I'm highly sensitive. So empaths, they can listen to any background noise and stuff, and it's not going to bother them. But for me, if I'm talking to you and you're like on your phone when I'm talking to you, it really annoys me because I know I can't be on my phone writing or reading and hearing you at the same time. I can't. It's just too overwhelming for me. I like to put my phone down when I'm talking to you, and I like to listen with my eyes and my, you know what I mean? So those are the differences with a highly sensitive person and an empath. But I love this topic because now that you know, you can share with your loved ones. You share with your loved ones, hey, you know what? I'm a highly sensitive person. So, you know, when I say sometimes that I can't handle this and that, it's not because I'm trying to be hard, but it's actually something that I have. My husband knows that. He loves listening to like radio talk. Sometimes he leaves it on his phone. And when he comes into the house and I hear the radio talk on his phone, because he's so used to it, he doesn't know. But I'm like, and he knows it. I'm like, can you just turn that off? He's like, okay, yes, I'm sorry. And then I can hug him. But I don't want to hug him when that radio is in the background because it's so annoying. Anyways, yeah, that's just my example. So you don't only have to be highly sensitive to sound. You can be highly sensitive to smell and taste and to any stimuli. So for me, that's to say like the positive. So that I was sharing the negative, the highly sensitive, like it's overwhelming. But the positive is I feel like I have a superpower. Like I could be here in a Starbucks lineup and I could see someone I know over there and I can actually tune out the conversations right here and I could hear to an extent, you know, like I can focus and I can hear what people are saying like 7-8 feet away from me. So that's the beauty of the highly sensitive person. I always say it's like my superpower because I can, as an empath, feel so you know the truth and not. But you can also, as a highly sensitive person, everything, like my husband always like, smell this. It's like, because I'm so highly sensitive. Yeah, this meat is good. This meat isn't good. Smell this, taste that all the time. And people are asking you to smell things and taste things. You're a highly sensitive person. So thank you so much for tuning in to Amplify Love. And I really appreciate your time and attention. So please make sure that you subscribe, rate, and share this. I shared this from a previous episode that I did for a private group. And I'm going to start just sharing my beautiful questions that people ask me and start sharing everything and even more interviews with other people as well. So thank you so much for your time and welcome to all the changes that's happening here because that's the part of life is ebbs and flows. Until next time, looking forward to seeing you and keep on amplifying love in your community, in your home, but most importantly, within your heart.